All right. I think we're live everywhere. We're picking up from where we left off on the last stream, and this is an old song that I was working on probably maybe about a year ago. And when I was like changing from my MacBook to my Mac Studio, I moved a bunch of files and everything open, and some like files got lost. So I kind of like been rebuilding this session because I think some of the foundational core ideas on it were actually pretty solid. So let's see if we're already day two in. So let's see if we can amp it up a little bit and see what's going on. Kind of want to cut this in half already. Ooh, let's do. Still got this bridge. So let's kind of listen back. First verse. Because they're calling this full band in. Let's rename this to verse. Because that's what it is. Kind of want to add that layer back in the pre-chorus. Some weird overtones. Let's see. Yeah, that works. All right. Let's start getting some of this down. Let's take this section here, bring it here, keep it muted just so if I don't lose that part. If I don't like, I want to hear like a. We might break this part in little sections just so we can get it clean. Yeah. Fix this chair behind me. Get in the way. Bring it a little higher, lower. That should do. Okay, cool. I hate how low that layer is. I gotta find a different way to do that positioning. Whoops, not back here. Close enough for demo. See if we like the idea. See if we can get it again. Maybe we change that note down to the D. This is the D, I think. Yeah. Maybe we change that chord there. Maybe that fixes some of this. Because I don't know if I like that last chord. Is it the E? Yeah, I think I like that better. Down to the E. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So let's copy that over back to the first chorus. Or the first verse. I don't think I have any real synth going on in that part except for these chords. So we'll change these down as well too. Make sure we copy that over. Feels like that resolves better anyway. Cool. Maybe let's try see if we can get that bass pattern to match a little bit. Dun, dun, dun. That should help a little bit. All right, we should thicken up the guitars. These notes are different. Bump, ba-da-na-na-na-na-na. Cool. I kind of want to turn a little bit of that gain back up on here with this hex drive. I feel like it's sounding a little too flubby. I want to copy these two over. Let's get rid of those. I wasn't loving that synth guitar layer. This we're not using. Let's clean up. Let's see what we did on those. Let's see what chords we got there. We're dealing with a G, F. C, D, E. Let's see. All right, I think I got that. Let's hear what's going on. All right, I think we got this next part. That one felt good. A little open, but nice. I think the bass kind of doing like different inversions, as in like going up or down to the same note, might be kind of cool, giving it a little bit more of a kind of a feel. And since these are the subs, I kind of want to like take some of these really, like there's some weird shit we're doing in here, which I don't know why. Kind of want to take the actual bass we have here. Let's bring it down. And let's get some of these notes in here a little more stretched out. Let me zoom. Thank you. So while I'm doing that, let's listen to some of it. I want this part to be palm muted already now that I'm listening to it. Stick to eighth notes. Let's try. I feel like with open notes, it just feels like it just comes in way too quick. And we don't need these anymore. Let's see. I feel like the drive isn't even that high on it. Let's bring these down a bit. And see if that cleans it up. What are we doing on the EQ? Maybe we can cut some of that fizziness out. Let's take that out. All right, kind of listen to, trying to get more of an idea of what it feels like it needs. I feel like the guitars aren't sitting all well with each other. That's got to change. I want to see which of these layers we like better a bit. Kind of like the higher layer, but maybe we take that higher layer and we palm mute it instead. And not do... Let's keep it simple for now. So I think maybe it's a little too bombastic having both come at the same time. Cool. Very neat. All right, let's. I think part of what we need to do is branch out some of these low tracks because I don't want to do volume automation on there. I'd rather have like the verses be a bit cleaner on some parts and then have the choruses kind of still be big. So maybe let's start by breaking out the verse in this guitar low section and see if that helps a bit. And cool. This one will just be the verse, and we'll dial back some of the gain on it because I feel like some of those like super drop guitars just start sounding like you lose a lot of the clarity on some of it when the gain's way too high. So maybe we take off that hex drive and see what happens. It's better. And maybe we use on this part here, we actually use that more driven. And I want to put an overall just kind of EQ on the guitars and just get rid of some low frequencies on there. Probably anything under like 90 or 100. I just want gone. And I want to play with that guitar lead a bit. Let's see if maybe we can use that drip plugin and have it make the guitar not sound like a guitar. Would be pretty sick. I don't hate this one. Let's copy that over to the other one. Why am I doing the hi-hat open? We don't want that. Captain Dudermont, what's up? Kind of sound you're going for. So this is actually an old demo that I had by me about like a year ago. And when I moved it over to my new MacBook, I stopped doing. I lost a bunch of the random files I had on it. So it's kind of like a revisiting this old demo, kind of architectsy, but I feel like some of my stuff, like the stuff I'm into now, isn't as much like that. So it feels a little old. um, and even like changing little stuff because it's like I moved everything over from my old MacBook to my new MacBook. So some of these stuff I was digging up, there's just like little things I was, even in the past year production wise, I was trying to kind of fix up on, and just hearing it, and I was like, oh, I want to kind of revamp some of this. So yeah, let's get it from the start. Let's do it. Ooh, I changed something on there accidentally. Hang on. I did not want to copy all of those over. Let's do it again with the drums not messed up. Actually, we'll do it right before the drums come in. Vocalist, lyricist, I love it. There we go. When the guitar kicks in, let's go. The guitar kicks in actually a little bit later. Before the bass guitar. I'll do it right before the bass guitar kicks in. Right at this bar right here, I think is what you're talking about. Where everything kicks in. Boom. That's what you're talking about. Let's zoom in there. Bells fade out. Let's work on it. Let's do that. All right. Let's automate the volume. Let's do track volume. And let's have it maybe a little more subtle than that. And then have out one measure after the guitar kicks in. So, I'm talking like this. Hang on. Turn off the automation. Do like this. Now, this is what this is why I'm doing it on Twitch. I want to have people chipping in and stuff. You know, it's more fun that way. Fade out a little later. Let's try. How about here? Is that what you're feeling? I do like having these come in later. I think that's actually a really good idea. Time when the drums would start. So I guess it is when the drums would start. Yes. Yeah, so having this area, I actually really like having this area blank here. That's a pretty cool idea because I think it builds it back up when it comes in halfway through. I think that is a cool idea. Let's take out that. I think I get what you're saying. Have them fade out during this block. Sorry, I know you're on a phone and it's probably really, really hard to see. Yeah, I like that. I think that sounds really cool. I think it gives it more space too. Yeah, I like that. That's a good call. Hell yeah, appreciate it. thinking, I don't know how much I love that super low guitar coming in right here. Let's mute that for a bit and have maybe just the one guitar come in. Do video editing? That stuff is... I've gotten stuck doing some video editing for like bands and stuff I've been in, and the patience y'all have for doing video editing stuff is just wild. So a lot of respect, video editors. Do you do like video editing for like music related stuff, or is it more for like other projects, or you know, is it for like more like work stuff? I cut out. I was saying, what do you do video editing for? I don't know if it's music related, or do you do like visit videos for bands and stuff? Put together phase 1 for the MCU. Yo, that's sick. That was my favorite phase, mostly because it was my first one I listened to. I think the Kill the Bells again. During the, what's it called? I think during the, what part is it? Here. So I have them nuked right during this kind of first section. We could take it out this whole section here. Okay. Here's food. Here's good. Nice. All right. And there might be a delay from when you say things like here or even when I see it, so I'll try my best. I'm actually curious if we mute this. Would have like bass side or something there. Pull the bells back in where you had them, so they would go in at the beginning and then fade out when the drum kick comes in, but you have them fading back in. So I think what you're saying, if I'm understanding this, yeah, stop it right when it's going on and down the stair. Correct. Yeah, I think that's good. Put the bells back in where you had them, so they would go in at the beginning of the fade out when the drums kick in. All right, I'm going to try my best on the beginning of the fade out when the drums kick in. So I guess it's the way I'm kind of thinking of it, and probably hard to see. I have this little section where like intro and verse because there's no vocals or anything on it. So would you like to fade them at the end of this kind of intro section here? At the very least, maybe that last one. Give it a little bit of suspension. Keep them there. Awesome. And so you're saying during this verse, I think I originally had it where it was going through the whole thing. And I like what you're saying where don't use them in the first half. And we could have them come in on that second half of the verse. Fade out when the drums kick in, but then fade them back in. All right. Let's try midway through the verse fading them back in. So we can either do a slow fade, or I could just have them come in midway through. I don't know if you, what are you feeling? We collabing today. So probably right here. Let's get into some automation. Could fade it like this. Kill them complete when the snare gets the 5. Is fading them back in. I don't know if the 5 is you're talking right here, so we could do, let's get out of automation, like this. All right, let's try fading them in a bit earlier. try like this. Fading back in. You feeling, see this gray section here? You feeling that part cut? I feel like it does start. We can start them a little higher than that. Don't hear them. Try bringing up the whole channel a little bit. Coming louder. Cool. So you like the fade in at the beginning here? Do you want to? What do you think about keeping them right there? Fade them in earlier. Let's do it. So let's try. Yeah, because it's running. That might be a little too much. Let's try bringing them down a little here. Yeah. You like that cut? Do you like the cut here, right here, where this gray section is? There we go. Awesome. Hell yeah. This is fun. Let's listen to it from the beginning. Also thinking the first verse, potentially cutting the bass out and leaving it synth. These section are cut, so you want them just faded? Let's try that. There we go. So they fade in. Let's see if this is what you're hearing. Keep them until the snare hits, and then fade them completely. So you're talking about in this pre-chorus section? Okay, gotcha. Now we're on the same page. Yeah, there we go. It is hard without actual vocals on there to be like which section it is, and I'm sure on the phone this area up here is super tiny. Get them with the softer sections. Yeah, I like that. Let's try muting here then. I don't know if I like these super low guitars here. Just keep the high guitar. Maybe try, get them muted here. Ooh, something was up with that fill. Why was that so quiet? Let's give a bit of energy back in that fill. There we go. So Captain Dudermont, where are you from? I dig it. That is, I think, perspective from any musician is always a nice thing to have. I appreciate it. Live in the Midwest. Whereabouts? You have to give like exact location, but I've definitely been on the road in the Midwest for a bit. Ah, you're talking this little break section. Yeah. I think I may have had like a reverse cymbal or something there. I wish I still had my old files for it. I do want to add a couple when we're looking at that. It was just the bells. Put them in there. I think you're talking this section after the bells? So like we could do a, let me grab the right length pad on there. Ooh, I dig it. We're going for a vibe on the instrumentals. Oh, that's sick. I like that. Hell yeah. Let's give him a bit of a boost. Let's bring it up to 14. There it is. I think we have a pause here before this break. There we go. Yeah, it's a pretty long section here. I'm tempted to see if we... Boom. Let's try listening to it from the bells. Yeah. I've been in so many bands where everyone's like, we got to trim the fat. We have to be, it has to be coming from doing a lot of like radio rock style stuff. It was always like, you got to keep it short if it's over 3.5 minutes. And I feel like now with, a lot of that is kind of set on the precedence on radio, but I think now there's a lot of people are a lot more open to longer songs and everything. I grew up as a fan of listening to bands like Tool, where they had like 12-minute, Wild Odysseys, or like Coheed and Cambria. I was a big fan of too. They don't write super super long ones, but they're not like, they definitely don't stick to that same radio rock format. And that's something I want to try to get into more too, is doing a little bit more proggy stuff that evolves throughout the entire, a little more soundscapey stuff. I think that stuff can be like pretty entertaining. And it kind of keeps you. There's another band I was listening to. What were they called? I don't know if they were like Mandroid Echo Star. Oh, it's gonna bother me what the name of their stuff was. I think it was Mandroid Echo Star. But I was listening to them, and they have like some songs that are like 10 minutes where you don't really hear repeating sections, which not for everyone, but kind of cool. Like sonically, to say like, I feel like they wrote more riffs on one song that could like last most bands like an entire album, and they're doing that on like 10 songs. Super creative band. Definitely recommend them. Might be a little hot. Let's bring it down a little bit. Let's do 16. Might be good. And I want that automation. Track volume. There we go. I want to add that back in. Cool. Hard rock, progressive rock intro Creed style soft rock. I love everything I'm hearing. Disturbed style new metal, transition to funk groove with rap verse. Dude, that's wild. Dude, feel free to link your stuff in there, man. I'd love to check it out. Operatic finale in Italian. I love that. That's wild. I want to get some of these reverse cymbal things I normally add in. Title shade, all closure. Yeah, you're hitting like what I think is kind of cool about a song like that, where you hit so many different musical tastes on it, is I think that like each person, it's like, at least for me personally, when I think of like Creed into Disturbed into like rap stuff into like Pantera, it's almost like an evolution of like the stuff that you like, which is kind of cool. Like for me, I think because I think I started listening to like rock the same way like a lot of people. I think I heard like it was like Nickelback and Creed and stuff like that on the radio, and then I remember I got like Linkin Park when I got Hybrid Theory was I think the first album that kind of like opened my mind a bit. And then after Hybrid Theory, Meteora, then my buddy was like, "Oh, you like Linkin Park? You like new metal? Here's Disturbed." And he gave me the Down with the Sickness album. This is back when you used to like swap albums and burn it with your buddies, and he gave me the Down with the Sickness album. And that was like wild. I was like, I didn't know you could like scream like this. This is pretty sick. And then from there, it just got heavier and heavier. And then also too, like I think any kind of music is just like great to listen to. My music isn't for other people; it's for me. If someone likes it, I'm happy. I like that attitude a lot. Because I think if you don't have that aspect of your music not being for you, like what's the point, you know? Saw Disturbed with the VIP package. I was lucky enough we got to an old band I played in. We were one of the openers we were on a different stage of Disturbed, and we got to see I think it was them, Godsmack. It was actually at this festival out in the Midwest. If you're out in that area, if you've ever heard of Rockfest in Cadott, Wisconsin, the band I was playing in, we were one of the openers, and I think we saw like Disturbed was sick. I'm trying not to confuse multiple years of this festival because we've played it a few times. I know one of the years there was like Godsmack, Hailstorm. I want to say the last year we played there was like Mudvayne. I want to say Disturbed was there. But it's like awesome festival, and the cool thing about like the Midwest is like some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and really good food. But really cool festival. Like when you see all these festivals that have been just going like horrifically wrong recently, Rockfest has been going on for I don't know how many years it's been over. I feel like it's been over 20 something years, and they always get like really sick lineups. So yeah, Rockfest, huge fan of. If you're in that area of the Midwest and you haven't been yet, check out Rockfest. And they have a really cool just like community of people that go to those shows. The Rockfest crew where everyone goes every single year and they make a lot of friends. So Theory of a Dead Man, that's a band I've not heard in a bit. Nice. Who was wasn't Lizzie Hale filling in for what the hell? Go back. Let's hit back. Oh, we got a symbol. Let's hear. You talking about this one? China hit. Yeah. So funny story about some of these drums too. Some of the stuff's all over the place. Is I used to use a different drum map when I was when I originally wrote this song. I was using the Get Good Drums One Kit Wonder by Architects, which is a really great sounding kit. Ironically, I've been using the Fusion kit more, and this is back before, like, I used to write my own drum maps because I just wanted stuff that made sense to me. And then there was always like weird mapping changes between the two, and I didn't know that I can just like, because I use a lot of what's it called, like MIDI sample libraries and stuff like that when I'm coming up with drum ideas. So I always had to like try to make everything match certain drum mappings, and they would evolve over time. So like stuff, if I took an old MIDI file I used a year ago, put it in a new one, you would be like a huge things just wouldn't line up properly. Then I was like, oh, I was talking to my buddy about it, who's a really good engineer, and he was like, oh shit, like let's just use your GM map everywhere. And I'm like, I didn't know you could do that and get good drums. So I was like clicking through, and there's only like 6 options. So I was like, all right, like let's do that. So now I converted everything over to use the GM drum map, which has been super helpful too. That way I can just switch between kits, and it's all pretty standard. I also do an Ableton, which is probably one of the biggest reasons I stick with Ableton. You can make custom labeled maps, which is neat, just because I don't feel like remembering that hi-hat open is whatever this specific note is, sharp, or I can kind of like, I'm sure you can see right here, I have my own little section of maps, which is a little bit easier just to write with. And if I'm like actually doing, do you play everything? I play a little bit of everything. I'm a very terrible drummer. Most drum stuff I'll send over to my drummer who I work with in a couple bands. I'll send him that stuff, and then boom, he'll send me MIDI back, map to GM, and then I'll just plug it in. Are you on Air Gigs or Fiverr? I've thought about it. Ironically, part of what I'm doing, trying to do this Twitch stream stuff, is just kind of build out a little bit more content. I used to only write in bands I played with for a long time. And it was everything. So everything was kind of based on that like kind of modern rock sound. And then since then, I've been thinking about getting in things like sync licensing. But it'll be interesting seeing where sync licensing goes in the era of AI. So for those who don't know, sync licensing is, let's say you'll have, whether it's TV shows, movies, you can even have YouTube, people that basically need specific types and sounds of music. What they'll do is they'll put out essentially a classified ad for, hey, I'm looking for a classified ad when it comes to I need this kind of sound for this. I need something that sounds triumphant. I need something that sounds a bit more, something dark and airy here in this kind of style. And the musicians can all submit their music for it and be like, okay, now that I've submitted my stuff, if you end up using it, you get a little bit of payments. It's a little bit like for hire writing. And you kind of build this library, and people can buy exclusive licenses for certain songs, which I think you get paid more on that. Or you can have 10 different people out there could use your one song. So you could submit your song for like 10 different of those classifieds. My thoughts on AI music. And so as a songwriter, I think AI is going to close a lot of the gap. I still think at the end of the day, you're going to need some kind of engineer or producer out there to be able to be like, hey, this is something that I don't think AI has gotten to the point where it can recognize 100% what I'd consider aesthetically pleasing. It's easy to work on things in key and on paper, everything should sound fine together. What I think is going to happen in music engineering is you're going to see a lot of songs written using AI that are going to go to producers. And what producers are going to do is they're going to sort through all of this stuff. A lot of it might be absolute crap, some of it might be great. And they're going to say, hey, there's something kind of cool in here. And I think we're going to be using AI in the audio engineering sector more to um, kind of generate a ton of ideas, and then you're going to see engineers come in and say, okay, well, or more producers come in and say, hey, this can be catchy. I think this is something that with this artist could sound awesome. I don't. I think at the end of the day, everyone's like, oh well, if it's all using AI, it's just going to sound robotic. I'm like, oh, I think you're going to see AI doing some writing. I think you're still going to see humans do the actual recording, the engineering, and then tweaking it to what I think is going to match more to what would be considered traditional music wise. So that's kind of my thoughts on AI. I like being able to leverage it like as a tool. I think it's actually pretty cool for lyric writing at times. If you're looking for something kind of specific, or I think AI can spit a ton of shit at you pretty quickly. And if you know how to take all that stuff and sort through it and say, hey, this is actually something that I think is usable, I think there's a cool way to leverage it without losing the humanity of it. So maybe that's a hot take. I don't know. That's where I kind of see it going. I don't think you're going to lose engineers or producers, you know. Do you think you could tell the difference between an AI track and one written by a human? I can tell you I probably can't 100%. Like, I think if it's done badly with AI, I could probably spot it. But I've definitely seen some of those people that are like write a country song using complete AI or something, and unless I'm sitting listening to stems, I probably may not be able to pick all of it out. But I think what you could do is if you take something that's pretty good that's written in AI and you take that to like a human engineer or producer, they can take that and it can sound fantastic. So I'm all about like seeing what technology does. I won't act like I'm above being like, oh, I can tell what AI sounds like 100% without a doubt. Even something pretty cool. There was a band called that's gonna bother me now. They basically did an AI vocal replacement for Liam Gallagher on it. The band was called AIASIS, like Oasis, but instead of OA, it's AI, so it's Oasis or whatever the hell. But basically, a band wrote a bunch of songs that sounded like Oasis, and they used some of the AI voice swapping stuff. He sang as close as he could to Liam, and then did the AI, and it actually sounded pretty good, enough to the point where Liam was responding, being like, he was like, it sounds fucking mega. And I'm like, all right, he was having trouble telling the difference. He's like, it sounds just like me. So that stuff's pretty wild. For me, like, as much as I'm like a purist in that I think I like music written by people, as long as like people have stuff they enjoy, I don't care, to be honest. If people really like music that's written by AI and it makes them happy, more power to you. I'm not going to knock someone you should never feel guilty about not liking something because it was maybe written by AI. I think if you're doing that, you're gatekeeping yourself from maybe potentially enjoying stuff, especially in the era of things like lo-fi beats, which I think are totally fine if you want to like throw AI stuff into that, if you're looking like chill study music. But those are my AI thoughts, but we'll see. We'll see how correct it is. All I can say is it's moving fucking fast. That hi-hat build, I don't think needs to be like that. This is another one where I think my mapping didn't catch it right. Like, knowing me, I'd probably do a tom build. Little nod on the double kick. Oh yeah, let's double kick this thing out. Hell yeah. More on the double kick. Let's balance out some of these. So we could do some stuff like this. ba boom, boom, ba boom. It's kind of one thing. Yeah, instead of hi-hat building, go for the toms. Yeah. If you like cool tribal beat stuff, we'll save this. There is a drum library that I use pretty frequently, at least on stuff that I've been writing recently. I think it's a contact library. I think it's called Damage, and Damage 2, which are pretty sick. So let's see if I've got them on here. Damage 2, cool. So it's basically a ton of cool drum loops. And you can use it to do, they have like ensemble designers, but they also have like, let's see if I can find the one I'm looking for. You could use it to come up with cool drum loops. And they have some that are a bit more complex, which are kind of neat. Loop designer, yeah. And so you can basically have these really cool, like they have a bunch of like tribal ones that are pretty sick. Like that. Noah from Bad Omens uses these libraries pretty often. I saw like some of his live streams way back in the day. So you can use some of these as kind of cool foundational kind of layers to start building stuff up on songs. So definitely recommend Damage for anyone who likes that kind of stuff. And you start layering some of them together, like let's say. You start building beats like that. So I'll take like a beat like that and I'll go ahead and, hey, let's write a guitar part on top of it. So I kind of use those as like little song beds. I think it's cool ways to kind of thicken up productions a bit. Or you can always grab like loops off like Splice. Splice is really cool, and a lot of DAWs have this thing called a sound bridge. What the sound bridge lets you do is it auto syncs up things like tempo and key from your DAW. So when you pull things into your session, it should auto match up, or you can kind of hear what it sounds like in context. Yeah, Splice bridges are pretty sick. Huge fan of them. All right, let's get in this. I was talking about doing it a while back. I want to get some of these reverse cymbal swells on there. So I kind of use these as like little things for like anticipation. You have to be kind of subtle with them, or else they'll slowly just take everything over. So let's call these reverse cymbals. And it kind of does like the opposite of what what's it called? Kind of the exact opposite of like what a crash cymbal does when something starts. Something fun I like to do too on Splice. It's a really cheap way. And thank you, appreciate the follow too, by the way. Something cool you can do is you can take samples from Splice. A lot of times if I'm trying to build sound bed stuff, I'll just reverse random stuff and see what it sounds like. I think that's kind of a cheap, easy way to be creative without having to like design something from the ground up. And like speaking from experience on like the songwriting side, a lot of some of the best things that have ended up on albums have been a lot of times me just copying, pasting something to the wrong area, and it just ends up working. Kind of similar to like your suggestion to throw in that bell part into the bridge, that bridge section. A lot of times you can take parts you already have of a song and move them around, and they may fit other areas better because they kind of were all written around this kind of same motif. And there's been plenty of times where I've written something. I'm like, well, what happens if I take this lead that was originally in the verse and I move it into the chorus? And sometimes you can have all the right pieces. You just kind of find out where they're going with it. But yeah, Damage and Damage 2, awesome drum loop libraries. Splice, I recommend anyone doing engineering using Splice. It's just great. I used for those who didn't hear or weren't here during the other Twitch writing session where I did the intro. A lot of these like creepy whispery parts are all stuff I got from Splice, like these whisper samples you're hearing. Or I think I have one where like this clock sample I got all from Splice. Like this one. And a lot of times I'll just go in and the way Splice works, I'll pull it up for a little bit. there's a ton of different sounds. These are just the ones I have on my library, but you can browse tons of different instruments and different vibes and grab something totally unrelated to what you're working on. Like here's, let's see what's going on. Let's pick a random one. Like here's a gospel one. I don't really write gospel music, but you can grab certain loops. Some of these might be actual more traditional instruments. But you can grab like loops that exist on there and just kind of like use them. If you use them off Splice, you have the rights to them. Um, here's one for like Evil Nightmares.
Production master.
You can start getting some samples like this built in, or here's another clock one. Here's a loops merc. There you go. Yeah. So Splice is cool for that. I don't know what it's like. I wonder too. I use sounds from space, dude. If you can do that, that's. I have heard some people where they'll take like the sounds of what it would sound like on other planets and use them as like synth pads, which is pretty sick. Techno intro and break for my sister streams. That's awesome. Hell yeah, that's cool. You got a sister trying to do the Twitch stuff too. It's a lot of fun. And you end up some streams are quieter. Sometimes you get streams like this where you get some really cool ideas. So you never know what's going to come out of it. And I think that's a really cool way to grow as a songwriter. The NASA website, were they like the ones where it's like this is what like the surface of Mars or whatever would sound like, or it's like what the core of the sun might sound like? There's some like pretty gnarly stuff in there I've heard that's like, I'm like, oh, I kind of want to sample this. Yeah, yep. All right, let's get those symbols. All right, so Ableton has a built-in symbol library, and a lot of times we'll search for like a crash or something like that. Oh, is it actual sounds? Oh, that's wild. I love that. So I'll find a crash that sounds okay. That's not like too bright or too chimey. Grab it. Let me shrink splice so that's not in the way. Reverse it. And if there's certain parts of a song, like let's say this intro here, and you got to use it really subtly, or else it'll start to sound kind of cheesy. And I've definitely done the latter where I've used it a bit cheesily. I want to delete that space in here. Where's off? Grab it. Cool. Neat. All right, let's get our grid back on. I'll trim a lot of the crap from it. And then I'll slowly fade it. And a lot of times I keep it real low. Just gives a little bit of anticipation. You can also mess around with EQ as well. Crash around 2100. Alarm is set for 05. Oh, you up early then. Have to unload. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you hanging out and all the kind of words and the follow as well too. I hope to see you around. I'm doing I'm trying to do this like a couple like 3 days a week or something like that. I'm trying to aim for like Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, but I'm gonna definitely have a break coming up in a couple weeks. Going on tour. Actually, I'm gonna be heading I think through parts of the Midwest. I don't know where exactly we're heading to. I think we're heading the closest is Chicago. I don't know if that counts as the Midwest, but. We're going to be leaving for tour, I want to say like mid-late September, and I won't be getting back until like probably early October. And then I might try and bring my laptop and do like streams on the road, but it's a huge pain in the butt trying to like set up stream stuff. And I know like all my bandmates were going to be doing just like dumb shit. You're in Chicago right now. So we are going to be in Chicago. I got to find out what the name of this festival is. Oh, I guess you're a trucker. You're probably going all around. I think we're going to be in Chicago in September. It's 28th. Somewhere in Chicago, we're playing some type of festival. I have to find out what it is. Yeah, we're doing like a little tour right before that. So I think we're leaving. I'm out of the Washington, D.C. area. So we're going through Pittsburgh, Cincy, Nashville, St. Louis, somewhere. Columbus, maybe? I have to actually, I should probably figure some of this stuff out, but we're doing like a little tour around. So it should be a good time. Yeah, so I'm very excited for that. Go to the Buckeye to here and then Buckeye. That's Ohio, right? The Ohio State. I had a old coworker who was a big Ohio State fan. They got really upset if you called it Ohio State. You had to call it the Ohio State, which you know. So the reverse symbol stuff too. If you want to use If you want to take out little bits of the frequency, just grab like your EQ. If there's certain, if you want a little high end off, just grab a high cut or something like that. A little too much. Volume-wise, that might be a little bit much. I keep like -18. One is called Ohio State University. The other is called the Ohio State University. I could see that's why they're a little bit more defensive then. Isn't a Buckeye? It's a type of nut or something like that. But then also you can have a Buckeye isn't like a baked good. Never been. I've only been through like Ohio a couple times on tour, and that's been it. But I haven't got to like hang out too much. There was one show where I regret. One of the people there had like extra tickets to a the Ohio State Buckeyes game, and I think because it's on Saturdays, we actually had a. Do you have the option for that interest symbol, but padded? Maybe. Let's see what we got. Let's see if I can find a padded symbol. I may not. Paddle click. And as a non-drummer. Symbol but padded. Is that what you mean? More like a whoosh, whatever the hell it is. Crash swell. Is that what it is? A flanger sweep. I wonder if I have a crash swell. Yes, I know what you're talking about. I've seen them in like these big orchestra. You have these people and you just slowly hit it and you bring it up a bit more. This might be a good example of when you can use splice. It's like, hey, I want a sound of this. So let's go on splice and let's search for, I don't have to be technically a cymbal swell. It's a one shot. That's probably what you're talking about. So now we gotta find the right one. Sorry, these are a bit loud. Let me turn down I have my bridge on, so it's probably coming through the splice bridge channel. So let me bring that down a little bit. And let's see if we can find a cool one. That's the one I think you're talking about. That's one with actual wood sticks, though. This seems like a cool one. So with splice, if you find one you like, you can use. It's like a credit system is how you do it. So boom, you go ahead and buy it. You go into I think it's in library sounds. Yeah, that last one. Yeah, that's a good one. You could take it and then drag it right into your session. So let's play with it. And we don't need splice anymore. Yeah, splice is something for anyone that's doing audio engineering. It's at first I was like, when the hell am I ever going to use this? If I want a sound, I'm just going to make it. It's a lot of times in your writing and you get into like a vibe where you're like, hey, I'm on a roll with this. I don't want to get out a microphone. And by that time, a lot of times you kind of lost the plot a little bit. So it's kind of nice to be able to have that just directly at your fingertips. So you can be like, okay, let's get curious what it sounds like reversed. And sometimes when you reverse these, if they're not exactly time synced, I like that one. That's a good one. I think it's subtle, and I don't have to worry too much about trimming the front out of it. I like that. And I think what you can do in Ableton too, if that's a sample you really like, I think you can build it into like a drum pad, so you can just trigger it via MIDI, which is kind of sick. And I think in here too, if you find a sample you really like I really do like that swell rise, add it to your likes, and you can just kind of flag it as stuff that way, because you could see like even just I don't do too much with splice. A lot of times when we're in the studio, whatever studio we're in, they'll go in and they'll be like, okay, they have their splice account, and we'll add it to the actual session. I don't do a ton of that in pre-pro. Now that I'm doing this, I definitely am, since we're doing songwriting now. It's a little easier to kind of like maintain your library, and it's super easy. Just want to buy like 30 samples, and then you end up looking for one you really like. And they have a really good tagging system in here, which is pretty sick. But all right. Another thing you can do, cool. So I like that. That's a very subtle one, which is cool. So let's go to half bars. I just want to clean up the heads and tails so it's a little easier to copy this out. Your demo of Closure post link. Yeah, please do. Absolutely. I'd love to send it. And if you're streaming on Twitch too, feel free to send your link too, and I'll shoot you a follow as well. Okay. So now that we have this, kind of what I try to do sometimes is pepper them out and see where sounds good. A lot of times in breaks, I think is cool. Or coming out of sections is neat. So maybe like here's another place I would consider dropping it. Now, for this one, since it's such a dynamic part, this would be one where I'd really, really ease that part in so it's not too much at once. Not as subtle as that. Do you stream it's random and it's video games? Yeah, let me know what you stream. I'm actually a gamer myself. And thank you for the link. I appreciate that. Take it that snare hit. Yeah, I think if you have that, you may not need the, let's grab that. I'm so zoomed in right now. There we go. So we could do a snare hit. You can just do a kick and tom if you want something, or we could do nothing. Kind of like nothing, to be honest. Yeah. This symbol, this path. That's another spot where it might be cool for that cymbal swell in. It's like you wanna use it when it's tasteful, but you also like don't want to over pepper it, or it's gonna be just too much shit going on. This is one I'd have be very even more so. This needs a guitar lead in here at some point too. There we go. One of these risers is way too hot. Might be this one. Another thing you can do if you ever don't want to do the, that riser was hot. There's this one. I don't even know if it needs all that, to be honest. Let's mute that. Yeah, exactly. Something too. Might be neat to build it so that those EDM drums aren't so loud. A little bit of the hi-hat in before, so. Yeah, it does feel weird, don't it? We need one of them. This Is it funny how like these small risers and shit like that could just like totally change a vibe? Let's try the other one a little bit. I like this one in there because it does the stereo panning stuff. I don't know if it needs that snare right before there either too. This might be another good time for that that cymbal riser. Would be pretty sick. Yeah, that snare hit was standing out. Have this be a lot more subtle. Take the cymbal, take it the cymbal as talking about the digital hi-hat section. Let's see. No cymbal swell. Let's start the beginning break. Let's take out the ones. We may not need these EDM drums here. I kind of like a little bit of the build, but they're a little hot right now. Let's bring them down. Yeah. I kind of want to hear that last note on here. Yeah, it does give a bit of a lift. Let's grab that old fella. Where was that at? Oh, something I want to add into that I did like originally was midway through adding that clock noise in there back a little bit. I forgot about that. I think that was a cool vibe in there. And let's slowly fade those in. And I might do some stereo panning stuff with them. Because I think it kind of, like, the initial vibe I was going with the song was, like, kind of like sleep paralysis style shit, where it's, like, weird, haunting, something like the clock chasing you shit. Man, I might want to filter that. We getting there. I think I definitely want to tweak the drums at the end at some point too. All right, we're starting to get in there now. Yeah, made a lot of good progress. Logo find the clock some more. Yeah, let's bring that down. I think adding reverb on that would be sick too. Actually, I actually had reverb. Let's get a little bit more reverb. Bring that up. There we go. Awesome. So I think we're going to call it tonight. I think we definitely made some progress from the last time. Appreciate everyone hanging out. Whoever's been watching, commenting, Captain Dudermont, appreciate you hanging out. Thank you so much for the follow as well too. Hope to see you on again too. And safe drives trucking too. Jim needs more cowbell. Can't disagree with you there, buddy. All right, let's listen to it from the beginning. Let's see how we're doing. more. It's almost like a hi-hat that isn't a hi-hat, which I like about that. Nice. There it is. All right. We're getting there. So what day is today? Today is Wednesday. I might try to do another stream tomorrow, depending what time I'm gonna be up. But worst case, I think we'll pick it up where we left off on Sunday. But I would say thank you guys for everyone that's dialed in. Thank you everyone that's been listening. If you haven't yet, you wanna hang out for more sessions and stuff like, feel free to follow. I would love to hang out with you guys again. But until then, I'll catch you guys next time. Take it easy.